Hey folks, Quilly18 here, and welcome to a sort of state of the channel address. Been a little while since we've done one of these. I'm about to take a trip, so I've been having to sort of keep track of everything that's going on the channel and really kind of evaluate the state of everything around there. Plus, we hit a cool milestone today, 100,000 followers on Twitch, the Twitch channel. Follower on Twitch is basically the same as a YouTube subscriber, for example. So that was a pretty cool milestone, and so I figured I'd treat myself to something out of the Whiskey and Chocolate Fund. This is not whiskey, this is a beer, a Russian Imperial Stout called the Bolshevik Bastard that I got in honor of our Soviet campaign that we're doing right now in the Hearts of Iron 4 multiplayer. So cheers there. Hopefully everyone is having a lovely time with that. I certainly am enjoying Hearts of Iron in general very, very much. Of course, it's been a crazy, ridiculous past few weeks, the last month basically, between me taking a trip for Stellaris multiplayer event, followed by the Stellaris release, which required me to pre-record a bunch of stuff, and we did a bunch of streaming for it, followed by the Hearts of Iron 4 release, which, again, had me pre-record a bunch of Let's Plays, plus do some bonus streams, just ridiculously crazy. This week's multiplayer Hearts of Iron 4 event, which is also, adding a lot of time to the schedule, and then tomorrow, so based on when I'm recording this, I'm going to be leaving for an event that in San Francisco. So I'm going to be doing some video stuff there, and then Essentia is coming with me, and we're going to spend the week in San Francisco after that and have a wee bit of a vacation. She's never been. I've technically sort of driven through San Francisco a couple of times for work stuff, but I've never properly seen the city. So Essentia deserves a proper sort of vacation, and get a chance to see a little bit more of the world. We always like to do that, so we're going to do that. Anyway, it was a good time to just take a bit of a look at the channel. Everything is going very well. It continues to be one of those things where it's like, how like the coyote and Roadrunner, when the coyote's chasing the Roadrunner sometimes and ends up sort of like in thin air, right? It runs right off a cliff and then sort of stops and looks around and thinks about things, and then finally looks down and realizes he's floating in midair, and then all of a sudden gravity asserts himself and he starts falling. Me thinking about all this Let's Play, YouTube, Twitch, streaming, playing games for a living stuff kind of feels like that. Like if I think about it too hard, I'm going to find myself like falling into a deep canyon somewhere. So I sort of just kind of let it happen and not think too hard about it. But, thank you for making this something that keeps working. It is the coolest job in the universe. It's, it is still a lot of hard work to do, but it's really, really, really enjoyable and satisfying work, because at the end of the day, I've got these videos that I can put on the internet, and I can say, this is how much stuff I did today. I completed this thing. And it's very satisfying to be able to sort of create anything, even if you're not in what you would consider a creative field necessarily. Maybe you're a builder, right? You construct things, but it's still, you are creating something. And at the end, you look at this thing and said, I made this thing. And that's what I mean. So with videos, it's like at the end of the day, I say, I made these videos. That's awesome. I have concrete evidence that I put in work today. And that feels really, really, really good. And I love that I can do that. And just thank you so much for continuing to make that a thing. Just by watching, you support the channel, or coming out to the streams, or sharing, or telling your friends, or doing anything like that makes a big, huge difference. And of course, the people who contribute to the Whiskey and Chocolate Fund, thank you very much for that. Because of the nature of what it is, I never really want to acknowledge it as more than, it's just a silly little frivolous thing, for the Whiskey and Chocolate. But there's some people who are really, really, really generous there, and I really appreciate that. And I think the only way that I can make that work in my brain is to say that the big tips are to cover for the people who would like to tip but can't, because everyone's got, different age, different means, different things like that. We do have actually a very, speaking of age, a surprisingly mature community. And I don't mean that we're old, although, maybe compared to some, I don't know. And certainly we have basically every age demographic is represented. Yes, from the very young, young enough to make me feel really, really old, to the quite a bit older than me, but, young at heart still. But it's all really almost very evenly distributed, which I think is pretty incredible. But beyond that, I think something to do with the kinds of games we play tends to attract a crowd with maybe a different level of maturity, just sort of a different amount of kind of intellectual interest. I'm not going to say that our community is necessarily smarter than, other types of communities, but I think the type of smarts that goes on is a little bit more of a I don't know, academic, analytical, strategic sort of smarts, which I think is really cool, and all that goes towards building a really great community. And again, with that sort of niceness and maturity that comes from that. And it's always great when you get people who hadn't been around to one of these things before, a random person who just runs into the channel on Twitch, and they're like in the chat, and they're like, wow, you guys are like, this is really nice chat. What's going on? Because that is really unusual on Twitch. And it's hard to maintain as the community grows, and yet we've somehow mostly been able to keep a really good tone over there, which is really nice to see. And as a result, you end up making friends, you end up knowing people, you see the same, I was going to say the same faces every time. Okay, well, they're usernames, but still, you really start to recognize people and have that. And one of the other reasons I decided to make this video is I was recently informed that one of the viewers who had been around quite often and I talked to several times, yeah, I guess that's one of the other things that happens with, you know, internet, or I don't know, some of the people who are on the internet are maybe people who are a little less, I don't know, social or outgoing or this or that, or I don't know what it is, but, or maybe it's just the sort of thing that happens all the time, but you don't normally hear about it or know about it because you don't know as many people as you do in an internet community. But one of these people that was around a lot, anyway, I got an email that they took their life, and it really affected me, really affected me. And actually a couple people have let me know at this point, because that's the way our community is. You know, people sort of know each other a couple of different ways. And so, you know, that's, I have, you know, emails that I get from time to time that I mark as emotional emails because of the content that's in there. And I don't know if I ever got one from someone letting me know that their friend who also watches the channel is now no longer with us. And that was really rough. That was really rough. But I still take it as a positive in that we have a community where you can get those feels afterwards. You know, it's a good sign that we have a great community, that there's people that you can become really attached to that way. Or, you know, it's just, again, it's a friendly, familiar face. You're used to seeing someone around, and it makes you happy when you see them again. So, anyway, all that, thank you very much. In terms of state of the channel, I don't remember what I've talked about already. I had a take earlier that didn't work quite right, and then I cut it off, and I can't remember what I've said in this one versus the other one. The last month has been crazy busy, mostly because of Stellaris and Hearts of Iron 4, both coming out within like 4 weeks of each other or something crazy like that. Which, plus I did the trip for the Stellaris multiplayer event in there, and oh, then I did the trip for Civ 6 as well. Yeah, so I was gonna say, no, in May I was away. I was out of the country twice in May, at the same time as Stellaris and Hearts of Iron 4 were coming out. The last month has been utterly ridiculous. You know, having multiple campaigns going on for both Stellaris and Hearts of Iron 4 because of the sort of YouTube campaign plus the one we started on the stream, while also trying to maintain a couple of our existing series, the RimWorld, the EU4 Succession series. I still want to do Baldur's Gate. I still want to do more Dwarf Fortress and Kerbal Space Program. Although Dwarf Fortress in particular, to me that's like a streaming game, because that's where it really shines in a sense. I love the real-time reactions. I love that. So I still want to continue that Hearts of Iron, the Dwarf Fortress campaign. But yeah, it will be streamed. And of course, right now with the streams, things have been crazy. And yeah, and this week I'm going to be leaving, going to San Francisco, spending about a week and a half there with Essentia. And we will be doing a special stream on Saturday for that. It is a sponsored stream. It's going to be sponsored by Audi. It's going to be something that's basically making a virtual version of the Le Mans race, a 24-hour endurance race in Forza. They're gonna have like a racing jumpsuit for me. We're gonna be streaming. It's a 24-hour race. We're gonna be on teams of 3. There's gonna be a bunch of other streamers there and things like that. There's gonna be there's gonna be a race, so there's gonna be other teams as well, all racing. It's gonna be, I think, a crazy cool event. And it is one of those weird things where I never consider myself to be a car guy, and yet, actually, I sort of am. And I think it's because it comes from the same love of, like, simulation and understanding how things work. Like, I really love flight simulators and never really questioned that. But then when I started playing Automation and Car Mechanic Simulator and Jalopy and Euro Truck Simulator and Forza, it turns out I really like car stuff. Plus, I've watched every single episode of Top Gear more than once. So when this came up, I was like, at first I was like, that's weird. Why would you ask me this? It's not really my thing. except it really is. And I guess I have covered a lot of car stuff, and fuck yeah, I would love to do this thing. So it was really cool. And yeah, I'm going to turn it into a little bit of a trip with Essentia because she deserves, to have a break too. And, we're going to try to relax for a week in San Francisco and see the sights, which should be a good time. We will try to do a sort of fan meet. We don't know what our schedule is going to be yet. It's probably something 50-50. We will let you know if we're going to be able to do a fan meetup in San Francisco. Obviously, it's the sort of thing we really like to do, but we're going to have to play that one a bit by ear depending on how our schedule develops. So we may only figure that out once we're there, actually. So stay tuned if you are in the Bay Area, I guess. Yeah. In terms of series, RimWorld, we're going to go the current series until we end with the ship, and then again, it'll probably be on a hiatus for a bit until the next version of RimWorld. Stellaris, we just finished that. It's going to be on hiatus until the next version of Stellaris that comes out, 1.2. Probably we'll start another one there. We'll see. Hearts of Iron, we've got 2 campaigns which are still going pretty strong, and we'll continue to do so. Dwarf Fortress, we will try to continue our House of Grey Dwarf campaign because I really love that one. I do continuously want to do more Kerbal Space Program, but I'm a little bit like, it's one of those things where I don't know what to do story-wise with it. I don't know where to go or what to do, or I will figure out something for that going forward because I love it. I still want to finish Baldur's Gate Enhanced Edition, but that's the one that's a little bit lower priority because not as many people watch it, and therefore, if something has to be cut for time, that's the one that sort of takes a hit there. And there's a couple other things that I would love to sort of revisit, or new things that have come out that I'm going to want to see. It's like anything else. There's just not enough time in the world, or in the day, or the week, or anything like that. But we try our best. Hopefully, people are still happy with all the content. Obviously, we're going to be doing the programming videos for Project Porcupine continue as well. And I'm really happy about that. Thanks to everyone who supports youtube.com/Quill18creates for the programming tutorials. I feel like actually Project Porcupine, the sort of defined tutorials that I had mapped out, we're starting to get to the end of that. I just uploaded, I think, episode 61 is where I am. It hasn't been made live yet, but it's been uploaded. 61 episodes of programming a base building game is pretty crazy. If you don't know, it's basically something kind of like a RimWorld or Dwarf Fortress or whatever. But we're building a space station or whatever. And yeah, we're coming near the end of like the sort of phase 1 that I had mapped out. And by the time, I don't know, all the videos go online, it'll be moddable by changing XML files, by writing Lua scripts to add behavior to furniture, and so on and so forth. And it's really getting to be that point where I'm going to be putting stuff out more into like GitHub and things, and just sort of open sourcing it and letting more people contribute. Now that there's a base, there's a skeleton there that people can build from. But yeah, and that's, fantastic. And I'm happy to be doing that. That was one of the things I'd really wanted to do when I had decided to quit my day job to do YouTube full time. My idea was, and I'll have all this time for the programming videos, and I'll have all this time to do my own game dev as well. Which doesn't work out because in the end, every free hour, every extra hour that I get, I'm like, well, I better record more Let's Plays, or learn a new game for a Let's Play, because obviously more people watch the gaming channel, the Let's Play channel, so that's the channel I feel, deserves more attention. And that's why ultimately we did the Patreon thing, so I could cut back on some of the gaming stuff to do the programming stuff, and I'm really happy with the balance that we've hit there. I hope that all the channels are getting all the content that people would like. Live stream wise, we're going to keep going for 2 live streams a week currently, still, so Wednesday a couple hours of Civ, that will likely continue, and on Saturday 4 to 5 hours of miscellaneous games, whatever we sort of feel like at that time, plus we do the subscriber multiplayers then, which is great, and the occasional bonus stream. I don't think I'm going to add any more streaming, generally speaking, because I think if I added any more streaming than what we currently do, I think it would make it difficult to impossible to really maintain the YouTube sort of Let's Play style content. Certainly more than one series, and even one series would be a little up in the air, because streams take a lot of energy. Even the Wednesday one, which is only 2 hours, that's basically the whole day. Sometimes I squeeze in 1 or 2 like 30-minute episodes of something in the morning, and then I take a bit of break, and then I stream for 2 hours, and by the end of it, I'm dead. And on Saturday, usually it's like the whole next day for me to recover. Although now, yes, on Sunday mornings, I keep forgetting we have Sunday Morning Heroes, the D&D campaign, which I'm so happy about, and I've been wanting to do forever, and it's been well received, and people really seem to enjoy watching it. But yeah, that's right. That's the other thing that's eating into the schedule. And this week in particular was crazy with the Hearts of Iron 4 multiplayer event. It was like, 6 streams in a week. 6 streams, 6 days of streaming, which is ludicrous to consider. But yeah. Anyway, I'm going to wrap this up. Just want to say thanks, give everyone a bit of a heads up about the channel. But yeah, thank you very much for continuing to make this be a thing. Hopefully we can keep doing it forever. I really don't know what I'm doing. I mostly, I just keep trying to record things and put them on the internet and then hope things work out. Some people are much better at, being a YouTuber or being a Let's Player or something like that. Just whatever. But again, I try not to think about it too hard and hope that it all somehow magically just works out. So thank you. See you next time, folks. Bye-bye.